over the summer, I kind of, dipped my toe into Tinder. Girl, don't freaking judge me, okay? Because listen, I live in Columbia, Missouri. The dating pool has eutrophication, rotten lily pads, and frog poo in it, okay? It's hard out in these streets. Hello, lovely folks. My name is Lauren, and welcome to my channel where I discuss pop culture, social issues, and anything swimming around in this here brain of mine. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Glad to see it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications as well. Follow my Instagram. A lot fun happens over there. You can stay tuned when I do so happen to post a video. It's literally been a year since my last video. Not intentional. Life was lifing, and not in a sexy way. Okay, it was not great. A lot has happened within my life, whether that's my personal life, professional life, all of the above, and I've learned a lot of things that I feel like could be useful to a lot of people. So I figured I would go ahead and make a little vid, kind of reflecting on this past year and looking forward to the rest of the year. I'm just gonna kind of break it into categories because it's a lot. If you don't want to know my whole life, all right, that's fine. We don't got to get too close. But I'll be putting timestamps down below of categories of like different aspects of my life if you want to kind of hop around, but I would suggest watching the whole thing because it's all connected, oddly enough. Go ahead and grab your popcorns, grab your little drinky drinks, grab whatever and settle down because this is going to be a long one, but hopefully an educational one. Let's get into it. So, dating. Okay, just to give a little bit of background, I was not allowed to date in high school, and I also was homeschooled on and off for about 4 years, and a lot of those years took place during my middle school years. I've always felt a little bit behind, if that makes any sense, developmentally, when it came to the experience that I had with guys. Like I kind of missed out on the part where you kind of have like your 4-day flings, or like, oh, they're dating now, which just means they sit next to each other at lunch and like share fruit snacks. I didn't have that. So once I got into high school, I was still very much of the mind that like, oh, it's a guy, like, ooh, very like timid when it came to that. Also hadn't received any like male attention growing up, like romantically or liking, like desire, showing desire. And I feel like that definitely has affected the way that I navigate the dating scene now. There's this TikTok that I wanted to bring up, it really called me all the way out.
Those of us that were never asked out, never asked to any dances, never were shown any romantic interest.
I've wanted to make a response to this video for such a long time, but I couldn't find it, so I'm super glad I came across it today. First of all, the effect of not having received romantic validation during your formative years, like to the age of 18 or most likely older, cannot be understated. It's very real, and it will mess with you in a very deep, core way. But I actually wanted to talk about how that interacts with dating and entering the dating world as an adult. Dating in the modern age is very casual, but those of us who are late to the game can't treat it as casually as other people can, who have had all these experiences in like high school and college and stuff. I don't exactly know a great way to put this, but as an example, I know that if I were to receive flowers from someone or be held by them in a romantic way, there's like a 90% chance that I would just start breaking down crying. Ideally, the person you're dating should be able to take everything in stride, but at the end of the day, they're still a stranger, and that's a lot to put on someone that you don't know.
That struck me in both ventricles. I was like, okay, that was a counseling session. That was free therapy. Because like, I just realized like, that's me. Like, I went on my first date this May. Before then, I had never been on a date, never been asked out, never done any of that. What ensued was about a month and a half of, it was a situationship, which a lot of people throw that word around, but it really was, because it was like, one day he'd be like, oh yeah, we're dating. And then the other day he'd be like, oh, let's just be friends. And I'd be like, well, we didn't even give dating a chance. Like, what are you doing? Like, the hell? Like, he would definitely not really know what he wanted, and eventually that ended like middle of the summer. Didn't end well. Over the summer, I kind of, dipped my toe into Tinder. Girl, don't freaking judge me, okay? Because listen, I live in Columbia, Missouri. The dating pool has eutrophication, rotten lily pads, and frog poo in it. Okay, it's hard out in these streets. I met this one guy on Hinge. We were talking for a while. He was a really great guy, sweet guy. And he had told me, he was like, I think this will be temporary because if y'all didn't know, I'm graduating in 2 months. And so, well, at the time it was in 4. He said he really liked me though. And he was like, I enjoy spending time with you, blah, 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 blah. But literally 2 weeks ago, I think, we had been hanging out, and then I was like, you know what? I know you said it's gonna be temporary, but I'm having a really hard time getting attached, because I do. I'm just telling you this is how I'm feeling, And he was like, well, I mean, I do like you, but I'm realizing like you feel more of a friend role. And I was like, well, I thought you liked me though. And he was like, well, yeah, but like, I don't really feel a romantic spark. So what he really meant essentially is that I like you physically, but I don't really like you. I was like, okay, all right, well, have a safe drive back. Oh. I will say though, I'm glad that he was honest about it, and it wasn't really any hard feelings or anything like that. So that happened. And then literally last night, I met someone off of Tinder. He seemed nice. But then I spent 30 minutes trying to explain racism to this man. I want reparations. I will take it via Apple Pay, PayPal, Zelle. I will take it in freaking silver dollars. I don't care. I'm sorry, but I don't even want to talk about it. But basically, yet another unsuccessful romantic venture. Right now, I'm just at the point where, even though it's been a short time, I've learned a lot about myself and what I want and what I like and dislike in a potential partner. I may make another video about this, but like, I don't even have physical standards. Like, literally, I'm all open. Like, the only thing that I request is that the guy be taller than me, because I am a curvy bottle of Coke and I just want it to even out. But the guy that I first dating ship, whatever, was literally my height on a sunny day. So like, that's how you know, like, physically, I don't really have any stipulations or anything. Personality wise, I want somebody who's kind. I want somebody who is loyal. I want someone who's funny, intelligent, but not like pretentious about it. I knew that those were things that I wanted in a potential partner before I even started dating. But after I've had these experiences and I've dated, it was painful when those things ended, and it was like, damn, like I felt like I wasted my time. But now I see it as a way to identify the things that I like and that I don't like, and the things that I've learned. I see them as learning experiences now. I think I've done a lot of work on myself in these past few years, or in these past years specifically. So I feel like I would be ready for a relationship. I have a lot of love to give. Being able to provide that or give that to somebody in such a special way is something that I'm really excited about. But as of right now, it's just like I said, I'm about to move, so I don't necessarily know if that's possible, if that's wise to start something like that now when I'm about to leave. But I'm excited for the next chapter of where I'm going to be and, who I may meet. So that's dating. It's a fun time. reflecting over my time in college, I've met people who I've, drifted off from, or like they've moved away, they've transferred, and like, that's just life. Friendship breakups though, I've had 2 huge ones. The first one, I don't know if you guys remember, but in probably my second to last video, I mentioned that I was going on a trip with a group of friends that I had at the time. We went, and it didn't go well. I was a bit of a Debbie Downer. At the time, this was before I was medicated. Which we'll talk about this in this next segment. Typically over the summer is when I get like the most down. I was crying every night, and nobody, when you're trying to be on vacation, people don't like that. Like nobody likes the person who's like down in the dumpster, like, the whole time when I'm trying to be at the beach, you know what I mean? There was also love triangles, triangulating all up and down in that trip, and it was bad. It didn't end very well. I decided to reach out to all of the friends and be like, individually, and be like, hey, can we talk? Like, I just want to apologize for being so negative and down when we were on our trip. One of the friends, when I texted them this, essentially said, new light has been shed on our friendship that's like making me think differently about our friendship, because a couple of people in the friend group told me things that you have talked to them about, and now I'm thinking differently. A lot of the stuff that he told me that they said wasn't fully true. I'm pretty hurt by it because I don't feel like I got the same amount of like consideration that everybody else did. Like I wasn't allowed to talk to them like in person, which I feel like would have changed a lot of things. To this day, I haven't talked to any of the friends since. I did find out though that 2 of the friends in the group had been telling their friend, who I know now, that my anxiety was annoying on the trip. Which is really funny because one of them literally has a mental health card in their freaking Instagram bio. Hilarious. That kind of hurt. That kind of hurted a little bit. Also, one of them said, when I asked them, like, do you still want to be friends after the trip? They were like, I couldn't imagine like seeing you and like not saying hi. But I literally saw them over this summer, like face to face, and they didn't say anything. But it's fine. Like, I still think that they're good people. I wish I would have been able to like share my full like thoughts and story instead of just like over text. And I think we would have understood each other better, and it would have ended, even if it was supposed to end, it would have ended amicably versus just us like not really like speaking to each other and like being like, no, I could have just not gone on the trip, because I was feeling pretty like scared. I was feeling pretty doubtful of going on a trip with, these group of friends. But then also my anxiety probably would have been even worse if they went and I didn't go, and then I would have been like FOMO, and that would have reinforced the idea that I was not a part of the group. We also were all really still young. I mean, I still am, but like I still think, maybe they just didn't know how to handle someone who was having that much of a, like I said, visceral sort of blow up. And I don't fault them for that. Sometimes it's hard to deal with somebody who is constantly in their heads and is constantly, thinking the worst and is constantly negative. Like sometimes you just have to step back and like let them flesh it out and like let them get the help that they need. And sometimes the help that they need is not going to come from you. So yeah, that happened. I still have like texts from like over a year ago, and like one teeny tiny part of me is like, if I ever see or meet them and have the opportunity to show them, I'll be like, listen, like look at this, like this was not like, you didn't know the whole thing, you didn't know the whole story. I'm mainly talking about that one person who like texted me and said like, oh, things are different, blah 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 blah. The bitterness and stuff is gone. Like I don't really have, it hurts, like I said, like sometimes I'll drive by, like when I'm coming from work or I'm coming from the grocery store, I'll drive by places we used to go, or like their neighborhood, and I'm like, oh. Like Olivia Rodrigo starts playing in my head, and I'm like, oh my God. Because part of me is thinking like, if they would have just waited like like 3-4 months, they could have had a good ass friend. Because I blossomed so much since I started taking care of myself more and of my brain, that like I feel like I almost feel like I'm a different person. I do feel like I'm a different person. And I just feel so much more positive now. And with the love triangular thing, now I'm just like, really, that was a factor? Like, really? Over a man? Please. We'd have a lot of fun. I feel like we'd still like get along, and even better now that I know how to like rein in my anxiety. But it is what it is. Like, I don't think that is like an option now. I don't know if that'll happen. They've moved on. I've moved on. I have, my friends. It does suck. It sucks to think about. I feel like I've said it sucks like 50 times, but it does. It sucks. This other friendship breakup happened last month, so she fresh. Hi, I'm editing right now, and the next story, friendship breakup. Excuse you. Your butt all up in my face. You stink. Go. This next story is like 20 minutes worth of footage. I am just going to tell you, I'm going to give you the, the low down, hold down, throw down of it. Basically, one of my friends took me out to this coffee shop, and I was reconnecting with this person because they had been gone for the entire summer on an internship. And I was just thinking we were gonna reconnect and we were gonna hang out, we were gonna talk, do all the fun things. We have good old fashioned conversation for about 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, man's adjusts his posture and is like, so I think you know why we're here. Who said that?
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who had been saying that?
What? He goes on for like 10 minutes basically saying how he feels like we've been growing distant, and he feels like we're not like, compatible basically as friends anymore. Also, the devil works hard, because remember that first guy I told you about that I first ever dated, and he couldn't make up his mind, situationship, yada yada yada, rewind, refresh. I met him through this friend, and apparently he had been sharing information and saying that it didn't end very well. She said that like she's the best person that I'll ever find, whatever. That doesn't even sound like something I would say. My self-critical self? Absolutely not. But anyway, basically he says, well, since it didn't end well with you, like you hurt my friend, and now you hurt me by like not communicating with me very much over the summer, which we had a 3-hour phone call, which it was only one phone call, understandable. But he said basically on that phone call, like, I had something really important that I wanted to talk to you about, but I felt like I couldn't bring it up because we were just like randomly talking about you. I didn't know. I had no idea that you had something. If you would have like texted me and said something like, hey girly, like I really want to talk to you about this specific thing, like I thought we were just calling to catch up. So essentially he ends the friendship. I start crying in the middle of the freaking coffee shop. I was like, you're in my pinned messages, which is how you know that somebody is cool with you. My sister's in my pinned messages. Ebony, shout out to you if you're watching this. If my sister is there, that means something. So I basically explained to them, I was like, I was gonna invite you to my graduation, and he was like, well, I'm happy that you're graduating, but I think you should invite somebody who's closer to you. Anyway, that's basically the end of the story, but that's where when I told him that everything, that's where I resume here in 3, 2, 1, now. Here's your dagger, sir. Here's your dagger. That freaking struck me. That ripped out all my veins, all my arteries full of bacon grease, because I love it. That definitely made me be a lot more introspective, because I was like, oh my God, I need to call all my friends. So I started texting all of the friends that I still had left. And I was like, have I been a good friend to you? Is there anything that I could do? Have I hurt your feelings in any way? Is there anything that's on your heart? Like, please let me know, because girly, I can't handle it. I can't handle another one of these random breakdowns. I will just cease to exist. I will just fall down. My knees will break, and I will just stop. I can't. They text me back and they're like, no, I don't think there's anything. But I did talk to my sister, and I knew she'd be honest with me. She was like, in this situation, I don't think it was necessarily your fault. Because how are you supposed to know that these things were bothering this person if they didn't tell you? Like, you're not a mind reader, you wouldn't have had any sort of way of knowing that. But I will say that you do tend to like talk more, and like not necessarily dominating the conversation, but you do tend to like have a lot to say. And sometimes, as much as you love being listened to, other people love being listened to just as much. And Ebony, shout out to you for that. That was really good. And that definitely made me realize, like, okay, maybe I can be more like attentive and like more cognizant and like be more of a listener and take a step back. Because like I said, I'm a loquacious girly. Okay, I love to talk. I love to talk not just about myself, but like try to like, you know, fix and troubleshoot people's issues and problems in their life when they tell me about them. And it's just like, no, sometimes you just need to listen. Sometimes they need to ramble for once. And your flapping lips need to like take a breather. That's definitely something that I've been working on for this past month now. Now I'm at a point where I kind of want to go on this little, you know, journey, like a little reverse back journey, because I've met so many people in college, kind of like a pilgrimage back to basically safeguard the memories that I have and bring them with me after I leave college. And also, it's another way of me trying to kind of figure out who I want to keep in contact with after I leave. So it's just like, if I meet up with somebody, I'm like, hey, you cool? You know, let's hang out. You know, and I'm like, okay, we'll be pen pals. Or if it's just like, oh, I don't think this is much of a spark anymore. We were friends freshman year or sophomore year, and like it just isn't really, it ain't hitting anymore like it used to, and that's fine. As much as I'm excited to like be in the real world, I am like, well, hell, how am I gonna find friends? I literally have 20,000 18 to 24-year-olds at my disposal, right out there. Now when I leave, I'm gonna have to befriend somebody who got a mortgage. It's gonna be hard, but I'm excited for it. I definitely am looking forward to it. And I'm cherishing the time that I have with my friends right now. Learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about how I am in friendships, and I think I can definitely take that into the next chapter of life. Good stuff, good soup. After that trip, that's when I knew that if I didn't get any help, I may have not been here. I may have ceased to exist, if you catch my drift. I've had anxiety since I was a young child. I just didn't know what it was, and I didn't really get treated for it or anything because we were very religious, I would say, and there was a lot of more emphasis placed on like spiritually trying to heal, which like I feel like that does help, but I needed pills. As I got older, I you know, definitely struggled a lot with depression and anxiety, self-esteem issues, the whole 9 yards. So I went to the doctor and they put me on medicine for anxiety, and I feel so good. That probably sounds sarcastic. It's not. I feel great. For those first few months, it was very, very dicey because I was not on the right dose, so they needed to up it a little bit. But once I got there, ooh, I was feeling so good. I've been medicated for a little over a year now. I definitely think though that like the medication, it's fixed that chemical imbalance. But now I know what doctors are talking about when they say that medication and counseling and therapy go in tandem with each other, because you have that chemical imbalance fixed. Great, cool, yeah. But your trauma and stuff, like you need to go through that and fully process it through therapy so that you can develop good coping mechanisms and strategies to use in your day-to-day life and to apply to your situations. Now, I think like my highs are higher and my lows are not as low. There were times where like back in September of last year, that was probably the hardest semester of my life because I was going through a lot of things family-wise. Fun fact, I am estranged from both of my parents. It's been about 2 years for one and another year for the other one. It's a lot, it's a hot mess, but just know that I am a lot better off. It was hard. I was in a very, very deep rut for about a month and a half, like probably about almost 2 months, from like September to beginning of November. It sucked and it hurt. But once my medicine started kicking in, I started having a lot less of that like low. Now I'm like, it's a lot easier for me to deal with when sucky things happen in my life. I'm like, okay, ugh, here we go again. But it's like, I know that there is gonna be a rise out of it sooner than I may believe. And I think because I believe that there's gonna be a rise out of it, that rise comes a lot sooner. So yeah.
I will say, watching back, I feel like I'm making it sound like medications are like a miracle drug. It's not. There are definitely other things. It's not like one size fits all. A lot of times, finding a right medication is very difficult. I know I'm making it sound like a miracle drug because it was for me, but it's not for everybody. And yeah, so that's just the moral of the story. I just thought I'd put that in.
I would say right now that I'm happy but stressed. And that will lead us into the next and final part. I'm graduating in 2 months and I am so freaking excited. I'm like, I can't even stop smiling. Like, the thing is though, the other day I bought my cap and gown and I started crying. My eyes were thoroughly moisturized. In that moment, it started becoming real to me. These past 3 years have been so full, but they've been so hard. They've been incredibly trying. Like, I've been through trials and tribulations, and I've learned so much, you know, academically and also like socially, you know, like I've learned how to be better as a person and how to be better to others. And I feel like me graduating is just like represent like a nice little bow. I'm like, oh my God. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I got in my car and I was like, I have like a little cover on my like driving, on my steering wheel. It's kind of cute, like a cloth cover. And I had like put my head down. I was like, and then I got back up and I was like, I touched it. I was like, ooh, why is she so juicy? It's so surreal. I have made a job decision, okay? But I will be waiting to announce where I'm going, okay? Because we want drama, we want mystery, okay? I don't know if you guys know, but I've definitely mentioned it before, but if you're new, I am a journalism major, sociology minor. I did my capstone, which basically meant that I was producing almost every day over the summer at the station, and I've learned a lot. And I'm excited to take what I've learned and take it into the next place and develop it like a Polaroid picture and go into this next season of life. Before I sign off here, I want you guys to kind of do what I have done, which is reflect and look forward, okay? It's a 2-part assignment. What are some things that you have done over this past year that you're either proud of, you either have wanted to work on, whether it's your friendships, whether it's, you know, work things. And then I want you to look forward to what do you want to do for the rest of this year? Like, what are you planning on achieving, accomplishing, doing, whether it's literally could be like hanging out, like reaching out to a friend you haven't reached out to in a long time, or learning how to meditate more or something like that. Like, it literally could be any of those. You still have time to do that, you know? What are we looking forward to doing for the rest of this year to end this year out, okay? Stay safe, stay sane, and reflect and look forward. I will be watching the comments. I will be watching, and you need to do it, all right, or else. Bye, guys.